Let's talk about origin stories. Some are good, some are rough, and some just happen because you were bored one night during the summer, couldn't sleep, and needed something to watch. Can you guess which one relates to me the most? You will soon find out. Hit it! For anyone who may be familiar with any of my content, whether it be through my skits or my art, you may know just how much of an absolute nerd I am when it comes to video games and anime. I'd even go as far as to consider myself an otaku, though maybe not in the same way that Japan views otakus with similar hobbies as mine. But to a degree, it's the best way to describe myself and the level of appreciation I have for the media and culture. It's certainly better than proudly calling myself a weeaboo, since that defines the extremist type who outright disrespect the culture. However, as any good origin goes, I never used to be like this. I mean, sure, I still very much grew up with playing video games. It's practically a set in stone trait for me at this point. But getting into anime took a bit longer to fully accept. The only ones I remember watching without even thinking about them being anime was Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and Sonic X. I'll throw in Zatch Bell in there as well. My reasons for watching can easily be summed up as the following. Everyone else was watching it as a kid, so I will too. Except Sonic X, because, it's Sonic. I actually got up early on Saturdays to watch that. I only started watching Pokemon back when I was in 2nd grade so I could talk to this girl in my class. Even bought a few figures and kept signing out some book at the library that had a bunch of Pokemon descriptions in them. I could never get which generation they were from right, but I remember Dawn being a part of Ash's crew at the time. Feel free to let me know in the comments which one that is. The other two? I don't know actually. It was on and I just simply enjoyed it while it was on. Probably and most likely because I had a show I was actually going to watch coming right after it, but at least it was still something I could enjoy while I waited. Though even with all that exposure to it, I never even knew it was considered anything different than any other cartoon at the time. So I never concerned myself with finding out more of it. Plus, when networks like Adult Swim and Toonami would come on, it usually meant I stayed up too late. But as any curious child would, I tried to linger in front of the TV a bit longer, which ended up me being exposed to a few scenes of Inuyasha, a scene where I saw someone with an arrow in their shoulder and a bath scene for the first time. But even that didn't get me invested enough like I was with all the cartoons at the time, until one fateful summer, going into my sophomore year of high school. Allow me to set the stage a bit. It was rather late at night as I laid in my bed, and my mind started to do what it usually does best and think about stuff at random. Basically, the conversation's topic my mind chose to present me with was the idea that I need to better myself as an artist. Not necessarily in my art style, but simply as an artist that can appreciate other forms of art. As someone who wants to create and write my own stories and cartoons and animations, it's important to know more than what I'm comfortable with in order to get better. In other words, teaching myself not to be critical of certain media if I have no prior knowledge of its meaning or purpose. Real philosophical junk, I'm aware, but it actually got me to think, what's a very misunderstood media that I've neglected for so long? And the answer to me was simple: anime. At the time, I didn't like anime, especially after finally being aware of the usual stereotypes of those who did. So I just asked myself, why don't you like anime exactly? And after going over my reasons, like, it's just a bunch of yelling and screaming, their mouths don't match with what they're saying, and people who watch it are constantly accused of enjoying the questionable variety, I'll call it. When I admitted to myself that those were all based on nothing but a stereotype and not based on prior knowledge or experience, I came to terms with how shallow my reasons were. Since this was something I started to hyper-focus on, sleep that night didn't become much of an option. However, the next course of action was to actually give anime a chance. Of course, being such a newbie at this, I didn't know where or even how to start watching it. So I tried finding a few clips of anime on YouTube to try and get the ball rolling. As my search went on, I came across a YouTube channel called The Anime Brain that made funny edits of anime clips and compiled some into one video. So that channel became the deciding factor as to what series I start to get this new anime journey of mine started. A few videos later, I came across a clip from an anime called Kokoro Connect. The current me now knows that the clip I stumbled upon was a rather popular one from the show, but just so I don't have to stress about copyright or anything, for all of you who are familiar with the show or recognize this screenshot and the characters in it, congrats. If not, I'm sure the clip is still somewhere up on YouTube. But I just remember that clip at the time being really funny, and I wanted to know for sure if it was an actual line from the show or a well-edited subtitle for the sake of a joke. At least that would soon be motivation enough to check out the official release, giving myself some form of incentive. Then I finally found a playlist that had the entire series on YouTube, fully dubbed in English. I thought to myself, oh, so they have a fully translated version of the same show? Seems like a nice way to ease myself in. I won't have to do much reading and can just enjoy it. And enjoy it I did. If the Project Happiness X you see before you isn't proof enough. What started off as me wanting to find context to one particular scene immediately turned into me being invested in the characters and storyline just like how I would any other piece of media. I finally began to understand that anime in the grand scheme of things was not some strange little hobby after all. Though there was a bit of fan service here and there in the series, so I finally got to see what the whole questionable content thing people would accuse it of being. After finishing out the series though, I just got this urge to find more anime because my curiosity at this point had finally peaked. That would then lead me to find Data Live and what would soon become one of my all-time favorites, Love, Chinibyo, and Other Delusions. By the time I got to that show, I finally gave in and decided I officially became a fan of it. Though during the time, anime was still looked down upon as a weird hobby, so this would continue as a small secret of mine until I felt ready to bring out to my friends. Almost felt like I was coming out to them or something. But I'm sure that was a common feeling for people who watched anime back then. I remember I had another friend who was rather open about watching anime, and though I never teased her for liking it, I did let out my disinterest in the media show at the time. So in the rare case they watched this, it's old news that's probably been long forgotten now, but I realized I shouldn't have judged so quickly. Plus it's super ironic looking back where I started and how I am now. Just like with video games, anime has now been something associated with me for several years now. So yeah, that's the story of how my anime journey started. I think it's been about 8 years since that summer, and I still find it funny how I didn't start watching it sooner. Reflecting on it now, if I were to have started watching it while I still viewed it as just any other cartoon, I might have had a better start in watching anime and growing up with some of the classics. But better late than never, seeing how nowadays anime has slowly become much more accessible and accepted by people. Might be due to the fact that various anime have gone trending on social media and the fact that anime movies are having theatrical releases in our theaters. Whatever the real reason may be, I'm just happy to know that I got to appreciate it on my own and thankful for it helping me becoming more comfortable with myself as a person. It's also been a major influence in my art style and storytelling. Could you tell? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to like and comment and subscribe for more content. It really means a lot. Also follow my other social medias in the description below. Anyways, this has been Project Happiness X, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace, love, and dove, and have a blessed day.